Hello and welcome to the Funnyfarm pod. And today you've got me, Charlie, and we've also got Chris. And today it's a special guest edition, and we have Gareth Morris. Gareth is a South Wales-based comedian, promoter, and author, and he's got a book coming out soon. I'm sure he's going to promote that today. So, Gareth, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah, of course, Charlie. So, my name's Gareth P. Morris. Is the stage name? I'm originally from Leicestershire, from Colville. Do you know Colville at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's where a lot of people, if they smile, their faces will crack. Moved from there to South Wales back in. Moved to South Wales when I was around 12. So I've lived in Wales 2/3 of my life now. Consider myself English Welsh. I've got Welsh heritage as well. Started comedy about 4 years ago. Really enjoyed it, and just kept going. I live in a really rural area, southwest Wales, where like people take their nan on holiday to Tenby and all that sort of stuff. So finding gigs locally was a bit of a nightmare. So that's why I kind of became a promoter. I decided I'd just run my own nights to get stage time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I think lots of newer acts kind of do that. Even doesn't matter where you are. It's like it's that competitive on the scene. Now it's like getting gigs it's really hard. So I started 15 years ago, so I've been doing it 15 years on and off. But it's been more off than on. I did it for like 3 years, and then I quit, and then work got in the way and stuff, and then did a bit. COVID got in the way and all that. But like my first, you'll have done it. I'm guessing you'll have done Spiky Mike's gigs, gongs and stuff like that.
I've never met him. So I've stayed local. This is the thing. So I kind of want to sort of branch out, but I find everyone that what I've done is basically, I don't like to drive, so I book people to come down with me. But the only downside with that is I don't get to see many new acts. So I think I've started going to Bristol. I've been there for probably 3-4 times now. And Cardiff only a handful. I tend to stay West Wales. But the funny thing is, I gigged in Edinburgh and Glasgow before I'd gigged in Bristol. I'd done the Fringe festivals up there before actually going to England, which is crazy. Like driving 9 hours.
Yeah, I say my first ever gig was a Spiky Mike gong. So to do Spike's gigs, you've got to do his gongs first. That's how he sees his new act. And I did that one first, and it was awful. And then I did I did a course. I thought I still got the buzz for it. I thought I still like doing this. So I did a course I think it was 2 Sundays on the trot, and then there was a showcase gig at the famous Hollybush. You'll have heard of it, perhaps not done it. Near Birmingham, Cradley Heath. Did that, and then it was like just not. Somebody asked me to put on a gig for a charity, so I just started my own night. And we did that like every couple of months, and I emceed it. So my 3rd gig in, I emceed. So it was like, yeah, and it went well. It was all right. Like looking back on that, I'm like, shit, what the hell were you doing, man? But loads of acts do it. Lots of new acts, because it's all right, you know. And then I'm going to say this, but a lot of sort of more professional acts will then moan about the fact that new acts are putting on nights and they clash sometimes with other nights and this and that. And you've got to be aware if you're clashing. But sometimes it's like, you know, it's a chicken and egg situation, isn't it? It's like if I want to get gigs, I've got to hustle. I've got to do something about it. At the moment, there's tons and tons of open mic, new material, new act nights around here.
Really?
That you probably don't have to do it, really. But
so with us, it's the opposite. What you found is that there's quite a few showcase nights, stuff like that, and pro nights.
Yeah.
With ourselves, it's only handfuls of new material. It's something that's kind of been it's been picked up in our local group, the South Wales Comedy Forum, that there's not enough of them. And I think, to be honest, as a new act, it's the best thing to do because it's low risk. You don't get you can run a night, get acts in, trial new stuff. A lot of pro acts, especially near sort of Edinburgh season, they want to trial new stuff anyway, so they'll come down for free and perform. You know. I started off doing a new material night in a local coffee shop, and then I think it was about 2 or 3 months after. I was only 4 months into comedy. Somebody approached me and said, would you be up for running a night in the pub? Yeah, that sounds great. And he went, oh, brilliant. If you headline, and we'll go from there. I was like, Right, I think I was less than 10 gigs at this point. So, going back, I know, see? And I imagine every single pro on that scene looked and thought, who the fuck does he think he is? Sorry, that's... there we are.
That's all right.
So
I still get it now, like, you know, I mean, I'm only really a year back in.
Okay.
As far as so I started back in November 24. Charlie, jump in whenever you want to, mate. I know that you're not. We're chatting shop.
I know. I'm learning a lot about comedy. I've done in the last 3 months.
He's going to be gigging soon.
Nobody likes any of me jokes. Apparently, you always say this shit. So
they're generally niche, mate. They're quite niche. Yeah. I'll let you tell Gareth some of them later, and he can judge them.
I have got something for Gareth later, but I need to find this thing out first. But go on, carry on. I'll jump in.
But yeah, what I was saying, like, so I came back. I think once you get the bug for it, I mean, the first 3 years I got to like getting to a point where I was getting paid gigs and stuff, and then my wife always winds me up about it because like work kind of got. I started out in recruitment about 13 years ago. And it was just too much, like starting at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, not finishing till 6 o'clock at night, and then going and doing a gig after that. It was just too much, and I wasn't the level where I was getting. I'm not the level now where I'm getting like weekend club work or anything like that. That's my aim, is to get to that kind of level. But like now, I've come back and I'm doing like I've been doing it for a year, and I've kind of gone like on the hockey stick curve. So I've gone. It's nice. Gone well. And I've done a few spots on weekend clubs and stuff, and I'm closing a gig tonight. And it's like it's only like it's an independent gig. It's one that a relatively new act. I think she's about a year or so in, is booking, and she's got a load of 10 spots on, and then I'm closing it for a small fee, and I kind of get the imposter syndrome at that. But I think I'm okay at that level. You know, I couldn't close a weekend club. I'm not that level, but I could certainly do middles on those gigs. You know, but then there's the hierarchy, isn't there, in comedy, where you've got to kind of do your apprenticeship, even if you're good enough.
Oh, you've got to have your time.
Still got to. Yeah.
You find them though, the newer acts that come through, the ones who really raise the bar, the ones that put the legwork in. You tell that they're happy to do the open spots initially, and it's only a matter of time then before they climb up. You know, and sometimes it's literally the case of they've worked so much on that 10. They've got that down, they're polishing it, they're doing really well. It's just a case of waiting for them to build up that competent 20 to move on to opening then, you know. But I don't know what it's like with yourselves, but I do find with us, the middles are just as important as the openers and the headliners. I find you can't, you what's the word? You can't sniff at, it's, you got to appreciate like a good solid 10-minute middle.
Yeah, it's... Because it's tough, isn't it, getting there? I mean, people outside of comedy, I don't know what your perspective is, Charlie, on this, but like people, I mean, 90% of people I speak to that have had nothing to do with comedy, like you'll speak to an audience member who's perhaps not that comedy savvy after a gig, and they'll go, "Do you do all that off the cuff?" It's like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's, I'll be honest, like talking to Charlie here, it's regular. That is a regular thing that gets said. Do you do all that off the cuff? Now, my comedy's quite conversational, so I do include the audience quite a bit. I'm not. So some acts will go on and they'll literally just be like one-liner comedians, for example. They won't interact at all with the crowd a lot, and it's like it's bum 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 bum. Punchline to punchline. I'm not like that, so I do talk to the crowd in my set, and it like can go one way or another with that. So mine. I suppose my stuff does may come across a little bit more like that conversational, as he just come up with that on the spot. But you lead them, don't you?
But that's the highest compliment, though, isn't it? Is if they turn around and go, "Wow, you thought about that all by yourself," or right from the top of your head. You're showing that you. That is the best way to do comedy, is to come across as a conversation, you know. Charlie, you've got your hand up.
Charlie's got his hand raised. But let me just say this, Charlie. Let me just say this just before, because it's you mentioned about your book and stuff, and it's that Adam Bloom thing, isn't it? So if I guess you've read Adam's book. I have as well. I did his course and stuff.
I've got crikey, just
my copy's over there.
So
my copy's over there. But he's like, you know, one of his main things, that the theme of his stuff that runs through is that you have to kind of, as a comedian, you want to be, the audience need to feel like it's the first time you've ever said it to anybody.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So to get that question, it is a compliment when they come and say, "Did you think of all that off the cuff?" Charlie, had you?
Sorry, go on. Yeah, go on.
Are you? I mean, we've it. Well, I've heard it on the grapevine. Are you a musical comedian?
I am, yes, yeah. Do you know what, though? I only started doing music. So I'm a musician in a band. I've done original music. I've done been in a wedding band and all that sort of stuff. And I was always the not to say the hype man, but I was always the idiot with the wireless system. I'd run out into the audience. I'd climb on tables and all that sort of stuff. The amount of time security grabbed my leg in a nightclub and pulled me down, and all I was doing was playing Back in Black, so yeah, or Michael Jackson. So when I started comedy, I initially started out, I think for the first 18 months to 2 years, just doing spoken word. In my head, it was, once again, I think it was an imposter syndrome. I thought, well, I'm not able to do normal comedy, so why should I venture into musical comedy? Well, in reality, it was almost a bit of the first time I did musical comedy, I jumped up with 4 songs, which I'd written in 2 weeks. And as soon as I did that, I had WhatsApp messages from my friends afterwards saying, I heard you do really well last night. I had one of the boys told me on the night, you've just leveled up. And it's one of the things I pick up in the book, is that I think when you first start out, you've got to try as much as you want. If you want to try absurdism, if you want to do deadpan, if you want to be hyperactive, just give them a little tidbit taste. Like there's a good night with us called Ministry of Absurdism. And what they do is you're encouraged not to perform your set, and they normally give you a theme. So mine was, I think it was imaginary friends. So I had a full-on hen party unicorn costume, which I wore, and my set was all about that. It was an imaginary friend that I took in as refugee. So the refugee which was the imaginary friend, couldn't stay in the original accommodation, so I was offered £24.35 to look after this unicorn then. So I did 10 minutes about that.
Was that me? Did you do that with your guitar?
No, just me. That was, yeah. I think it was before I started.
Sorry, did you play a few different instruments then in your set, or just like a guitar or a piano, or?
Just a guitar. I'm mindful of the props as well. See, because of the size of it, it's a bit cumbersome. I always try to minimise what I've got. So when it comes to as being an MC, I've got the smallest setup that I can do. Then when it comes to guitar, then it's the smallest one, because I was a bassist on one of the busiest circuits in Swansea. It's a place called. Have you ever been to Swansea by chance?
No.
There's a place called Wine Street, which is commonly referred to as Wine Street, and it's basically this long road full of pubs and nightclubs. It's something like one of the best stag locations in the UK.
Sounds like a good place to me.
Yeah. It is. I enjoy it. Yeah, it's a great, and there used to be loads of live music. It's not as much as it was then, but what I had to do then was carry these 30-kilogram bass amplifiers through a nightclub territory through nightclub territory at like 1 a.m, and after a while I got a bit fed up of that. So I try and pack light. So I've got a little parlour guitar.
You'd have got on dead well with Joe, you know. I think forgot to mention that, didn't we, to the viewers and listeners? Joe's pussied out today, so it's just me, Charlie, and Gareth on today. But hopefully he's. Well, I think he's probably wanking off at home, but that's just hope you well, Joe. But yeah, Joe's our musician. He's a incredibly good guitarist and plays in a band, and he teaches my daughter actually
even
guitar.
Though she can't play anything in 3 years. But
She's been doing it for 2.5 years and can't really play a song. She can play. She can.
I was going to say, actually, I'm a little bit gutted Joe's not on, because that intro music that you've got is sort of peak. It feels like peak noughties, tens indie. I'm pretty sure it's got to have been done by Joe, surely.
No, it wasn't. It was no, it was. I'm not sure if it's a CapCut stock one. We toyed with the idea of him doing it, but we thought it it seems to be this sounds good, so we'll just use this. So it is a CapCut one. That's
the ultimate fuck you to a musician.
Yeah.
It was him who decided that, by the way. It wasn't me. I didn't go, Joe, you shit. No.
We won't do Joe.
Yeah. So Joe's done a little bit of comedy. He's done a couple of gigs with me, like where he's been and done 5 minutes and stuff. Joe likes his dark stuff, so I know you mentioned you quite like dark. I'm a bit in between. I think I've tried to like pull my stuff back to not being as dark, but I feel like you should just do what is in your head, really.
Exactly. I find when you start as well as a comedian, there's a lot of people who dip into dark and they go very dark quite quick on, and then after a while you then start to sort of, as you get smarter and more, well, not smarter as you get more experience in the comedy industry, you find out what makes people laugh without being gratuitous or dark themes and all that sort of stuff. I love the occasional dark jokes. I think it sort of it catches people out. Anything that's creative, like any dark creative joke, I love. There's one joke in my set, and it gets a round of applause, but in my head I'm thinking it's not me as a person, or it's something that I think some promoters may turn around and go, oh, they did a joke about that. And I've always toyed with, do I keep that in the set? Do I remove it? I tend to look at the audience. I tend to sort of have a look at the promoter. If it's somebody I've gigged with recently or frequently and they know my set, and I'll throw it in. But if it's pro nights, I tend to leave that one out. Do you find, when it comes to like the jokes that are more darker with yourself, do you find that you hold back then when it comes to bigger gigs and stick to the safe stuff, or how do you go about it?
I don't really know. I think the other day I did a gig. I opened. It was a roast battle night, and I opened, and it was lovely. I did 20 minutes at the top, and then I did a roast battle, like just a mini one. It's the first one I'd ever done, and that was dark as hell. And I've always I've always said I don't want to do roast battles because I don't like upsetting people. In my set, I don't. Yeah, it's everything in my set's based on reality, but I've just taken it like and exaggerated massively on it. I do a bit. I've softened some stuff down, and it works better now. I do a bit about a gangbang, and years ago it was really harsh. It was like proper shock value. And like I dumped that out my set. Some rooms it got really good. It like would get a round of applause, and others it would fall flat on its face. So like when it'd been sat there for 5 years and I'd not used it, and I thought I'm going to rework this. So I reworked it and made it a little bit softer, told a little story around it, put some visual stuff in, and it kind of works a lot better now. And I tend to use that quite a lot. But the topic is quite dark. It's like gangbang. It's my wife, me and my wife. So it's like it's one of those. So it's like it's quite dark. And I toyed with the idea. So to soften that down, I toyed with the idea of making it not about my wife. So it's not a current partner; it was an ex-partner. But then it's like that, and there's no truth in that. We never had this gangbang, but the beginnings of the joke it's a true story. Something happened, and it inspired that. And I think like you've got to stay a little bit true to yourself, and I think just work within the confines of what's societally okay, I suppose. I mean, there'll be people out there that go, you should be able to just joke about absolutely everything and not worry about offending other people. If they get offended, it's their problem, not my problem, and all this, that, and the other. And I think, like, based on the fact that one of the reasons we set this pod up was based on mental health, and I've got personal experience of that. Charlie has, Joe has, and I've certainly with my children and looking how they've grown through the times and the media and all this, that, and the other, and how they've suffered with their mental health because of COVID and stuff that gets said in the media and stuff. I think you've got to be really careful about what you do say. But your original question was like, if it was a club gig, a pro gig, or just an open mic thing, I don't think I censor. I think I do the same stuff on a pro night as I would on a normal any other gig. The short answer is, and I'm waffling like fuck here. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's all right.
The short answer is that I don't think I really censor my set anymore as what it is, but I have certainly done stuff with my set to make it more societally acceptable, shall we say?
I think like comedy. I mean, I'm a '70s child, so I grew up with some real bad sitcoms, which would be construed as bad sitcoms these days. You know, we've talked about this, haven't we, on the pod of last? I think we spoke about it last week, and we've also, you know, we've spoken about Only Fools and Horses, and that's getting a bad. But it's just stuff like Little Britain and stuff like that. People coming out apologising, but are these comedians making it worse by coming out and apologising for what they've done in the past? Do you think? Do you think it's playing into the hands of the woke?
It's a tricky one. Yeah, I think it's worth people acknowledging or knowing that those types of sitcoms back in the day, or those. Let's not detract away from the fact that they are like Bottom and all that sort of stuff, absolutely hysterical. But those things that have just aged, you know. I think a lot of people have got that common sense to go, yeah, you can't say that these days. So I think when it comes to a public apology, you're drawing attention in, and it's inciting conversation. Do you need that conversation?
Yeah.
Some say yes, some say no. A lot of us are clever enough to make up our own minds and know you shouldn't say that in public. You know, I think nowadays because we've got a lot of because social media is so prevalent. I think things like cancel culture, and I'm saying that not on the comedy side of things. I'm saying that as for everyone, because everyone's got a social media profile now. You've got to be careful what you say, careful what you do, and you've just got to be. It's just got to be a nice person, isn't it? That's the thing. That's how I would see it.
Yeah, I think I was looking at some of the stuff.
Sorry.
Go on, Charlie.
I was just about to say, like, the first sort of like comedian that I sort of like remember who got cancelled was Stan Boardman. I don't know if you guys come across Stan Boardman. He was a Scouse comedian.
I've heard of Stan Boardman, but he doesn't.
He grew up like, you know, he's older than me. He grew up where I come from, in Liverpool, Old Swan. And he always used to go on about the Germans bombed our Chippy and stuff like this. And he was on was it Parkinson or that other famous interviewer? Was it Parkinson? It was the other one. Anyway, and he was telling a story about the Fokkers. Basically, the Fokkers come over and they were bombing everywhere. And he was talking about the Fokkers, these German planes, the Fokkers, and they come over, and it was hysterical. Everybody in the studio was hysterical, but he was cancelled off the TV for that.
I didn't know that was. Yeah, I had to watch that. Surely it's on YouTube.
The planes were called Fokkers, weren't they?
Yeah. And he only lives down the corner from me, and he's a great guy. I see him in Tesco's Express and stuff like that.
I do. I always thought the Fokker was from bloody Ben Stiller. I didn't
meet the Fokkers.
Yeah, I'd never heard that word before. Yeah,
that come out, but yeah, it's hysterical. You know, when you have that, and you have all these other great comedians who've been cancelled in a way. It was that other Scouse guy. Oh, God, what his name? There's a load. I'll probably think of it.
You've got Jim Davidson and people like that, haven't you?
Yeah. You know, again, Jim Davidson. He was a good comedian, but.
Well, I grew up with Jim Davidson on like the Generation Game and stuff. He was on that, wasn't he? And
yeah. And then, you know,
I'm going to be honest, maybe
Lenny Henry, but Lenny Henry was around then as well, wasn't he?
And look at The Big Break, great show that was. That was my
Brilliant.
Saturday. Yeah, that was my Saturday afternoon. Over Nan's house, bacon sandwich, Big Break, Generation Game, Gladiators, night sorted. You know.
Yeah, and like Bruce Forsyth now, I think even like, obviously dead now, isn't he? But when he was on Strictly and that he'd had to taper himself down to what he was when he hosted the Generation Game. You know, it's. I think. I mean, the one that Charlie mentioned earlier was The Guardian. There was a thing in The Guardian where a reporter had watched Only Fools and Horses, and I think whether it's true or not, because I get my news from my wife and Facebook. I don't watch the news. I don't give a fuck, because as far as I'm concerned, it's all bollocks this day and age. It's literally like if you say anything, you offend somebody. So what can you say? I mean, it's okay for, you know, Only Fools and Horses is one of my favourite sitcoms of all time, and I find it offensive that this Guardian person turned it off after 10 minutes and said it was racist and misogynistic. I find that offensive, but does anyone care that I find that offensive? No, because I'm on the wrong side of politics, aren't I? I'm on the wrong side of political correctness. So no one gives a shit about whether that upsets me. I remember when me and my missus got together. Me and my sister and that were brought up on Carry On films. We used to love the Carry On
Yeah,
films,
they're a brilliant
and I've
movie.
watched them all hundreds
Yeah.
of times and found them dead funny. And this, that, and the other, all the double entendre and the booby jokes and all that kind of stuff. Found it great. And my missus was horrified that I liked Carry On films when we got together because she's a bit left wing and this, that, and the other, and her mum's a bit of a plastic feminist is what I would call her, and this and the other. So she was horrified that I liked Carry On films.
Are you going to get in trouble for this? Are we okay? We're recording, aren't we?
I don't give a shit, mate. I don't give a shit. I honestly don't care.
Someone's
It's nothing.
Tonight.
It's nothing that I wouldn't say to the faces, and that's the thing. I am dead open and honest, and it's nothing that I wouldn't say. But it's I don't know. It just pisses me off this day and age. There was another one, and I did say I was going to try and find it, but I couldn't. There was another one on Facebook that I saw, and it was a woke kind of person had watched something that we would just go, yeah, that's cool and that's fine. How old are you, Gareth, just if you don't mind me asking?
How old do you reckon I look?
42.
I didn't hit.
You cheeky...
I didn't get that. What was that?
42.
He's owner of Salt Book, wasn't he? He said, how old do you reckon I am?
This 5 Ed is 10 years of Nivea Q10 plus. No, I'm 38. I think I've just turned 38. Do you really get to that point where
I'm getting a bit of not hearing you. I think my internet connection is a bit rubbish. So you two carry on.
Yeah, no, 38. Do you get to that point where you start to deduct the current year from the year you were born? I'm at that stage now where I don't know how old I am until I have to do that math equation.
I'm at that stage where where you have to put your date of birth into something online and you're rolling it back for ages.
It's traumatic, isn't it?
That's fucking the
It's like death is coming. Just keep going at the bottom. Then dust. Yeah, I'm that one.
I'm at that age, but I've got a 2-year-old kid keeping me young, mate. So
fair play. I've got a 5 and a 3-year-old, and like the 3-year-old at the moment is getting me up. Well, he's getting both of us. To be fair to the wife, she's amazing at it. He's getting up at 5 pretty much every morning for the last 6 months. So like between us, absolutely knackered. Kudos for a 2-year-old. Bloody hell, that sounds. You must be shattered.
I know. You know what? It's great, isn't it? They keep me going. All my kids are young. I never had my kids. I partied until I was in my 40s, and then decided to settle down.
I was very much.
I the other way down.
Yeah. I had the mantra of I wanted to have a long-term partner that I knew that nothing would happen with. Obviously, you can never predict that, but I wanted to make it as safe as possible. Wanted a solid job, wanted a solid house, and then at that point, then I'd look at kids. And really luckily, it's followed that path, But it took me till I think it was 35 getting married. No. How long have we been married for now? Been married since 2018. So I think was I 32? I think when we got married, 31.
8 years ago, that mate.
Yeah, So
didn't you say you were 38?
Yeah, just turned. So I think I was 31 at the time. Yeah, just before I turned 32 then. And then I had the first then, 5 years ago then. So later, but one you find out now with the school gates, you turn up and there's only a couple of parents that are in the 20s. A lot of them are all the same age as me, so similar.
I've had a lot of older parents these days. I do get the old granddad. Is that your granddad? A couple of times, but you know what? People don't know people don't know my family dynamics, do they? So exactly. I can't get pissed off with them. I just say, "No, I'm his dad," and then I get a funny look like that. It doesn't bother me, you know what I mean? It doesn't bother me a bit. I don't give a shit. I find it quite amusing, to be honest with you. But yeah, I've only had it a couple of times.
But then that's that whole thing. Is yes, people have made that assumption. You could claim offence, but no, you just go, oh yeah, no, I'm the dad.
They don't know my family dynamic, do they?
Times have changed massively, though, haven't they? I mean, my mum was 17 when she got married. And my dad was 19. Yeah, so she was underage to drink on a wedding day. I think she did, but but that's how it was back then. You kind of that's the way that it kind of worked. Was it like the whole you date for a year, you're engaged for a year, you get married for a year? It's like there's all these little like traditions that have completely gone by the wayside. I mean, I was 27, 28 when I got with Jane, and I'd always said I'm not getting married, I'm not having kids, not at all. absolutely fucking hate the idea. I like drinking. I like going out and getting off my head and doing what I want to do and not having to do it. I got with Jane, who'd got an 18-month-old kid, and she was pregnant with the second. So, like, that's all Sophie's ever known is me as a dad.
Yeah.
And we were open about it, so it's fine to talk about. So I ended up with a wife, a missus who'd got one and one on the way. I was at the birth and all that kind of stuff. So within the space of a year, I'd got like everything I'd said I didn't want, and I was happy as anything, like a pig in shit. I loved it, and I still do love it. It's like it's mad, but
you don't know what life's going to throw at you, do you? You know, and that's what the good thing is about it.
That's one thing that I was on the back foot with the first one, because you never know what to expect as a brand new parent. And I booked 2 weeks off of annual leave before the due date. I thought, brilliant, 2 weeks off, and then I'm going to be going on paternity for another 2 weeks. She came 11 days early, so I think I had 2 days of that annual leave. And the plan was I booked nothing in the calendar. I wasn't doing comedy at the time, but the plan was sit there in my boxers, play Xbox, and just live not a single life, but live a child-free life for 2 weeks. She came early. I was devastated. But what I found now is because I'd not been used to that sleep cycle of like just the 2-3 hour wake ups and stuff like that. This is one thing that started to affect mental health. Is I did have what's the word? Postnatal depression. I was the wife's a pharmacist, so I didn't go and seek help. I didn't at the time. I didn't need help. But I didn't feel I needed help. But let's say, luckily, the wife was really supportive of me with that. But like, I was getting things like night sweats, insomnia,
really?
And it was one of those things where you acknowledge that this is your life now, and that's not a bad thing. But you just need to sort of acclimatise to it. You know, it's like getting a new job. You get up at certain times, and now it's every 2-3 hours. Luckily,
I don't honestly think that I've ever heard of a guy say they had postnatal depression. That's new to me.
I think
but of course it can happen. You're going through exactly the same. I know you've got the biological things not perhaps there, but that's crazy. So
I was always of the in my head as well. I'm very much I'll wait till it happens type of person. So when it came to the pregnancy, I was very much in my head. I'm thinking I've heard all these horror stories. I've had friends that have had horrible traumatic things happen to them, and I thought until that baby comes, I'm not counting my chickens until they're hatched, literally. And let's say I know that works completely different when it comes to the women, because let's say at that point, my wife is carrying around the child. When the child came, happy, chuffed, she was perfect. But then just that change in lifestyle and the fact that my sleep pattern was affected, it changed me massively to the point where myself and Amy were really good in terms of having those conversations with each other. We'll be really open and honest, and we will have, if we need to have a breakdown, we will occasionally have a breakdown. Like we both, although I don't talk about it on stage, I'm neurodiverse, she's neurodiverse, and we're happy to just express our feelings. And I did say to her, I was like, the first couple of weeks, I didn't know what to do. I was like, the thought passed in my head. I've never had this in my foot before. I was like, do I walk out? And I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? You're thinking you're debating walking out on a relationship with a wife and a new baby that people would kill for. And at that point, that's where I realised I've got depression. But
me and Charlie were chatting. We were chatting not exactly on this mode before you joined us today. But like, I won't go into massive detail, but something happened in my business like earlier this week. So I've got a recruitment business as well as doing the other bits and bobs that I do. And it was an incredibly minor thing like that happened. And I sat there and I'm like, this is bad. It could have been bad. And I sat there and I'm like, do you know what? I could just end it all.
It's horrible. It's a horrible thought.
And then I spoke to my missus about it, and like literally the steps that I needed to take were so minuscule. And I was talking to Charlie about this. It's like when you suffer depression, and I think when you've got a proclivity to that, it doesn't always have to be something that's like major. Like everyone says, you break up with your wife or you lose your job or, a bereavement. It doesn't even have to be that. This I won't go into complete detail, but this was about my business insurance.
I had a friend of mine. In fact, he made Wales Online because he had a breakdown in like the NCP car parks. He couldn't get his window down to pay to get out. So there's always people behind him. He couldn't get the window down, and he couldn't reverse out and all that sort of stuff to open the door and stuff. And he had a panic attack. And it's like I said, those little things where you think, how did that happen? You think it happens. It's just those little triggers that affect each and every one of us. With the
tiny things, isn't it? And I think for me, it's like always been that. Like I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to. With big things, I'm dead good. If something major goes wrong, I'm dead good. I mean, when I was in corporate, I was the go-to guy. If there was ever an accident on site, I'd be the one auditing it. And if we ever had a staff problem, if they had issues, it was me that they went like, Chris, can you just deal with this? And anything big, I was the go-to guy. But then I'd be like, this candidate hasn't spoken to me. I've got him a job, but he's not confirming that he's going. And that would spiral me out. I'd be like, what the fuck am I going to do about this? What the fuck?
Do you know what? I find that with gigs. When I'm booking gigs, you get some people who are absolutely incredible to book. They've got the goods. They're great on promotion. They really feel like a team player with a night. And then you get some where you book them and then you don't hear from them, and you just think, shit, they actually come in. It triggers me a little bit.
The one that does me with.
I went to Loughborough Uni, and I used to do the sound for the comedians and the bands and that. It was quite funny. And we had this comedian in once, and he's there on the stage, and he's like, "How's your sound, mate?" "Oh, it's a little bit toppy, that." Yeah. So like, I'm not even moving the knobs, on the deck, and he's going, "Oh, a little bit more, a little bit more." "Oh yeah, not bad. I haven't done anything, anyway."
Prima donna.
Do you know what I was going to say? I'm jumping into a bit we went into, crikey, 15 minutes ago. When Charlie, when you were mentioning the Liverpool comedian that was cancelled.
Yeah.
What one special that it came out recently, Alfie Brown's new special. If you haven't seen it, amazing. So he's. I've always really resonated with him because he likes to touch on dark subjects, but he's very much he'll talk about the subject, but then he's careful about the target. He had one joke that didn't go well. He talks about it in the special I think it was about 8 years ago, even longer, and it was brought up basically by it was the Guardian or somebody made mention of it, and it basically became viral for all the wrong reasons. And his special sort of acknowledges all that, how he was cancelled, how it affected him. And you know what? It's probably the best special I've watched in the last 3-4 years. It's really, really good.
I saw the show we went to watch it at the Canal House when he did it.
Nice.
So,
what was it like?
Yeah, brilliant. I love Alfie. He's great. I'm a big fan of the Have a Word pod, so he's on there quite a bit with Adam Rowe and Dan Nightingale.
Do you know what as well? I was absolutely gutted. There's a photo on my Instagram where I was in Cardiff for a new material gig. I would say a new material gig. It was a work in progress gig at the Glee. It wasn't performing. I was watching it. It was Alfie Brown. It was Adam Rowe and friends. So I see as we made it into a date night, the wife and I, and as we were walking around the venue, just having a wander, there's Adam Rowe. It's like, I've got to have a photo. Got to say hello. Felt like a total fanboy. I said, look, big fan of his shows. I think his Club Comic, his first special, was brilliant.
Amazing.
It's fab. But he had there was a chat with him, and I know Alfie Brown had had like the dark hair in like sort of like.
He's had it cut. Yeah.
He had it in a man bun, and I looked at him and I thought, I think I recognise him, but I don't know him. And he was with Adam, and I like Alfie just as much as Adam, and I turned around to Adam and went, can I have a photo? And I completely ignored Alfie Brown. And in my head afterwards, he came up on stage. He was one of the friends. I was like, fuck! I just ignored Alfie Brown, one of my favourite comedians.
Yeah. I booked Adam. Adam did a gig for me years ago. It was I don't know if I've spoken about this on the pod, because it's weird now, isn't it, in comedy? Because maybe, Charlie, you've not heard of Adam Rowe. I don't know. Like, you'll have heard of John Bishop, and you'd have heard of all.
Yeah. And you know the mainstream guys. I don't know anybody.
Adam and Dan started their podcast just before COVID, and it's gone fucking viral. It's like
It's really good.
I'm a Patreon member. I listen to it every week. I love it, and I booked. I don't think I've ever gigged with Dan Nightingale, but I love his comedy. We go to the CCC in Chester. That's who runs that gig at the church in Chester.
Right.
But Adam Rowe, I booked him for this really weird gig years ago. So I ran a gig at the Gate in Orsworth, which me and Fran still book it now every now and then. And there was a member of the audience, I emceed it, and I always used to get that every time. It'd be like, why don't you become a comedian? What, you know what I mean? I'm emceeing, I am a comedian, but I'm just hosting this tonight. And like this woman came up to me and we had all that, and then she's like, would you be interested? I think it was his 50th, coming and doing my husband's 50th birthday at our house, like booking some acts and I'll pay you for it and all this, that and the other. And I said, I'd be interested. And she said, well, you've got to come and look at the venue first. So that was like, oh my God, what's this all about? And I think Adam closed it for me. I can't even remember when it was. I could look back and find out, but it was like 10 years plus. And I think Adam closed it. I had Adam Rushton, who don't think gigs anymore. He runs a Rush of Laughter
that
agency.
Name, rings a bell, yeah.
And I can't remember who else I had on it, to be fair, but Adam Rowe closed it, I think. And it was the batshit craziest gig ever. It was. I turned up at this house and I'm like, to look at it, and I goes, how the fuck is this going to work? She says it's in the shed. So it was in this shed. But like, as you looked at the shed, there was other outbuildings, and you went in the shed, and the performance area was in this shed, and they'd set it up like a little. Well, it was like a 4-seater theatre. So you got a little bit of a stage, and then there was enough room for 3 or 4 people. Yeah. But then this guy had made this proper bar. It was like a wicked venue, and it like the shed was here, and then it went round like that. So there was people in this bit, and there was people at the bottom, the bar at the bottom. It was quite a big like unit that he'd done, and then he'd got screens on the outside, so there was people outside watching it and all sorts. It was really fucking weird. It's one of them where the atmosphere wasn't probably brilliant, because you've got some people in front of you, and I emceed it. You've got some people in front of you. You've got some people over there, like that you can't see. Some people outside. You could hear everyone laughing. You got TV screens and everything all over the place. So it was. But yeah, I booked Adam for that gig. I gigged with him a couple of times years ago. And I speak to him every now and then on Instagram, but it's more of a fan thing than we're not mates, but you know what I mean. I did book him up. I'm pretty sure somebody said that he'd mentioned that gig on the pod, but I've not found the episode where he mentions it. But yeah, that was crazy.
I've seen him twice now, I think. But I think give him 5-10 years, I think he'll be mainstream, because what you find is all of his specials of just that. There's something that any comedy fan would enjoy. You know, he's not sort of. I don't think he's too niche. I think he's very much like an everyman type of comedy, which I like that type of style. You know, it's very much universal. So I think he's got there in terms of his writing. He's hit the nail on the head there, because it relates to everyone. You know,
he's prolific. Absolutely prolific as a writer as well. I mean, I would agree. Like, I think my favourite special. There's 2 that kind of. For me, and for different reasons. So I like his Imperious, and I like his What's Wrong with Me?
Yeah, What's Wrong with Me, Imperious, Juicy, and Club Comic. I think they're the 4.
Yeah, so my favourites are the Club Comic and Juicy. I thought Juicy was phenomenal, but for a very different reason, because all of his other stuff has been like stand-up specials. Juicy's a show. It's a proper story. I'd absolutely advise you, Charlie, to go on and have a look. He's a Liverpudlian. He's a fellow. He's a Liverpool fan. He's just such a nice guy. Comes across really good. Juicy is a tale from his past, which is great. And Club Comedian's my favourite. So that's where he does 2. He does the early and the late show at the Comedy Store in London, and he. So he's got 2 20-minute sets on and it's fucking phenomenal. Absolutely.
I actually mentioned Juicy in the book, the fact that he's extracted that much funny out of in an hour's story, and it's just one story. That's genius. Yeah.
He's
He's
brilliant.
really clever,
And
isn't
Alfie
he?
Brown directed that as well. That he and helped him. I think Alfie Brown was involved in Juicy.
Yeah, I think I think I remember on the credits. Yeah, but it was. I just think the fact he could whip out a story, that's one story, with callbacks and all that stuff over an hour period and still capture everyone's attention and still get people laughing. Yeah, credit to him. I aspired to write that level.
It is a massive story,
I
though.
do know who he is. I do know who he is. Is he the guy who goes on about the Chippies in Liverpool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
On the latest one, yeah.
Yeah, because we've talked.
So we had a conversation about this on pod, didn't we? Because Charlie's like Chippies here are Chinese and they do everything in one. So it's like one. And North Wales do it because my parents live in Rhyl, so
Right.
So North Wales are exactly the same as this. So I mentioned that Adam he'd done a bit about the Chippies in Liverpool.
There's not many around with us. See, the nearest one I can think of is there's one in my town, but it's just they do chips and they're also a Chinese, but it's not a proper Chinese chippy. But there's one in it was Pencoed, which is like an hour away, and that was a proper like Chinese chippy. So proper chips, chicken balls, Chinese curry sauce. Oh,
see, this was the thing that I said the other day. It was like, put your Chinese in your chippy, but do not give me them shit Chinese chips. I want proper fucking chips. Charlie, tell Gareth about. I mean, if he's not, he might have listened to it on pod. What was that thing you were on about? The deep fried pie.
Oh, pie in the fat. So,
Pie in the fat.
Yeah. So like, we just get like a pie, steak and kidney pie or something, and you don't batter it. Just throw it in the fat to like crisp up, and then you put it into a vat. Bit of curry sauce on the top, a couple of chips, gorgeous. Go between.
What do you call
between pubs when you're on a bit of a pub crawl on a Friday night?
What? So basically, a pucker pie cob that's been fucking deep fried. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by it.
Do you know what? You mentioned cob. Then that was a lovely callback. That was. I still call them cobs, but when you mention them around Wales, people go, "Are you talking about a horse?" Because
a horse?
Yeah, you got cob the horses, haven't you? There's I think it's just rolls around it. It's quite boring. But the three words that you find you don't get mentioned. Do you know what a jitty is? I know you've probably heard of a jitty.
A jitty, as in down the side of a house.
Down the side of a house. Yeah, a jitty is you don't get that round here. It's just,
Gennel. Used to be called a gennel.
Oh, jigger.
Gennel.
An entry.
You call it a jigger.
Or an entry.
Jigger.
An entry or a jigger.
Just let's be clear. He said jigger.
Jigger. Yeah. Oh yeah. Jesus. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, it's that jitty cob.
That's part of the Alfie Brown thing, wasn't it? It was a word that sounded like jigger.
Yes. Yeah. That was
that
it.
that he got cancelled for. Yeah. But yeah. So that's an interesting. I know Charlie's planned a few questions for you, Gareth. So I'm going to swift.
Probably I have asked them all.
Oh, have you?
I've got a very important one for you. Yeah, but what I do want to know before, because we're coming up to the hour, aren't we? Tell us about your book. What's your book about? What is it?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. So been in comedy for 4 years. I've made a lot of mistakes. Like any new open micer, I started as I started very much without a comedy course. I was emceeing nights within sort of 2-3 months, running my own nights to try and get stage time. And what I did was, rather than let those lessons and those old stories sort of like fade away, I thought, well, let's capture them. So instead of doing Edinburgh last year, planning a show and all that sort of stuff, I thought, well, let's get a book down, and make sure that try and write almost like, say, a couch to 5K guide. So it's aimed at anyone who is sort of similar to yourself, Charlie, somebody who enjoys comedy but doesn't have a clue how to go about it. So I go through everything, even like the basics of the lingo. So like something like a type 5, like some people would think that's like a moderately looking person who doesn't share their chips, you know. So I run through all that from the basics, and I run through also at the end then mental health. So I share a couple of stories about my own mental health, where you kind of like you know where, or you need to acknowledge where your limitations are and when to seek help. I acknowledge things like what to do when you've had a bad gig. I talk about, let's say, going back. I talk about how to get a gig, what to look out for, what's the best gig if you're a brand new comedian. So yeah, it's very much a
great stuff.
Comedy for dummies. Like I said earlier, I know Adam Rowe
is comedy for dummies, like those for dummy books.
It's very very much like that. Yeah. So I know. Adam Bloom, sorry, as I mentioned Adam Rowe then. Adam Bloom has nailed writing in terms of there are some. There is a section on writing, how to go about writing your first sort of 5 and 10. I've run through the process of how I tighten a joke down. So I wrote a joke recently that's been doing well. I made sure I kept the draft, and then I've gone through my process. I think it's like 7 steps where I thin it down. Then so you reduce the word count by something like 40%, but you get better laughs. So things like that. There's a couple of things that I know. Adam's touched on. He's got his own sort of rules, like the balloon and all that sort of stuff. I've got my own. I've got a couple of my own, but like I say, very much 1 section out of 10. What else have I got? I'm also looking at what a comedy CV is, how to write one, how to approach a booker. It's very much this is what's happened to me. I've expanded on it. This is what I think would be my own best practice. I've been conscious that I've included my own thought pattern in it rather than what I think would be the best pattern as well, or what would be the most acceptable. So I think there's going to be some people who'll read it and they'll go, well, that's not how I do it, but at least this is how he do it. I haven't travelled. I know a lot of comedians they'll get some crazy mileage in to achieve to do a 10 or 5 minute. Because I've got 2 young kids and me and the wife work full time, it's not achievable to me. So I've done it from the pattern of, if you are a full time working person wanting to be a comedian, this is where you start.
I've done the crazy mileage, mate. Yeah.
You'll have to when you're launching it, you'll have to send us the links over and we can.
We'll share it. Yeah.
Oh, you're a legend. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's I've got a couple of really nice sort of. Not sort of shows, but like book shows. So there's a local literature festival near me, and I thought, they're not going to touch me with a barge pole. But I did contact them, sent them over a few clips, sent them what the book was about, and they've got me. I'm part of the literature festival, which is quite tidy.
Excellent.
I did debate going to a couple of fringes as well, just to sort of like as a show to give a talk. But I don't want to be too pompous. I prefer to tell jokes.
I think, with you being a promoter and all that, I think you might be able to assist us in effect, especially for what I'm going to share with you now, Gareth, because I would like, as a musician, I would like your honest opinion on this, mate. I think this could go places. Listen to this, mate.
Oh no.
Welcome to the funny farm, the lads are back causing harm, talking shite but full of charm. It's the Funny Farm Showdown.
What do you reckon to that?
Oh, I don't know. It's got a nice little rhythm to it. I'd probably do that. I'd probably change the harm line. I don't know. That's the only one that didn't pop me. But the rest of it, I think if you were to get Joe to get some sort of jingle over it, I think that'd work. Maybe
get a vocalist that can sing.
But I reckon a honky tonk piano over that'd work.
I've got everything on my eggs in one basket with that jingle at the moment.
He's proud of it, mate. He's proud of it.
It's going to take me places, that jingle. We reckon we got Gary Barlow onto it, haven't we?
Oh my God.
That jingle was absolutely fantastic.
What a prick he is, eh? Gary fucking Barlow. Dreary twat. I saw a thing on Facebook about him the other day, how he literally looked like a balloon that had been popped, because he was so... You don't remember how fat he was back in the day, like how he let himself go. And now he's like...
Do you know what needs to come back though? Is all the memes about his son. Like his son, I don't know him, but like the comparison photos were bloody brilliant.
Oh, they're good. I don't know. I've never seen that.
Yeah. Oh, have you never seen?
I'll Google it.
Yeah, I think it was Gary Barlow. It was huge about a year ago maybe, and it was just the fact there was a photo taken, and Gary's really small, and his son's probably only like 5'10". But the comparison photos and the memes were brilliant.
Awesome.
So if you come across any comedians who need any jingles, do and give us a shout.
Well, we'd be better off if we get any comedians that need any jingles. We'll pass them on to Gareth, mate. I think,
I'll direct. That sounds good. Yeah, Charlie can do the rapping, like.
Quick question before we wrap up, mate.
Go for it.
I'm straight stand-up, so I just do normal, everyday man. I can't play a musical instrument or anything like that. And musical comedians, I've got like, what do you find your rap is on the scene with musical comedians? I've heard people kind of say they don't particularly like. I hate following a musical comedian. I really hate it.
This is something I've heard, and roast battles apparently. I've done roast battles. I've not roast battles. Sort of competitions. I've lost competitions when I've been a musical comedian. Some people say that it's always the musical comedians that do well. I find being a musical comedian, I enjoy it. Somebody gave me. I still find that balance though between doing straight stand up because I like telling straight jokes. I like telling
So you do a mix.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll use a song as a full stop. So you do your bit, you get your jokes, then you do a song as a bit. If you want to throw in another couple of songs then to bring the time out, then you can do that, and then you start another bit after that. Then, to be fair, it was a bit of advice I had from a musical comedian called Chris Davis, who's sort of similar to me. He does sort of 50-50. I supported Thomas Benjamin, the Fancy Chaps. You know the guy who went viral for the No More Fucks to Give song? He's playing now on his little, it's like a ukulele. He was doing a tour around last year, and I supported him. And the nice thing was I had 20 minutes of comedy songs, so I could just turn up. You throw a couple of jokey ad-libs out there, but you don't need to be a full comedian. So the goal then now is to try and find a tight 20 I'm really happy with that includes the songs and the stand-up, because at the moment I've got my pattern, but I find I'll just go, I'll just throw the song in as well, and I want it to be, I'm one of them where I like conversational stand-up. I like to try and sort of break that fourth wall and stuff, but I also like to have a really nice straight track on what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah, I've found that I did a competition last year, and the opening act who won it was I don't know if you've heard of him, Epi Brilliant.
Oh no.
He's up northern though, so I think he's Middlesbrough way, that kind of way, up northeast. He opened it, and then Stephen Catlin, I don't know if you've heard of him, he went on second.
Yes.
And he's like, he dresses up as a bee.
I really want to see it. He was on.
He's
he
good,
was on
really good.
Yeah, do you know what? In fact, I've got his poster up here on the side here. When I did Glasgow, he was there. So my poster's alongside his on here, and I was gutted. I missed him by a couple of days. It was the something autism. Was it that show?
Yeah. He's a lovely guy, Stephen is. I get on dead well with him. He's a good bloke. But it's a very alternative act. So I did this competition. I didn't win it. The musical act that went on first did. But what I found was like you get 7 minutes, I think it was. Might have even been 5. And like there was no gap between, so there was no MC in between. So it was like musical act, Stephen Catlin, me, and I found that I had to do 3 minutes of MCing before I could start my jokes to get back into that groove. And it's a challenge as a comedian. It's cool, and it doesn't bother me. I did a gig with Eddie Johnson, who's a musical comedian, and I closed and he went on just before me, and that was absolutely fine. But you do tend to find that there's a very different, the crowd get into almost like I want to sing along, and then I go on and start doing dick jokes. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I've got a thing at the moment. So I know I'm referring to the book all the time. In the book, I've got a section on musical comedy, and one of my rules, which I probably should scratch myself or get rid of myself, is I won't repeat the same chorus. So when you look at some comedians who want to get the audience participating, singing along, you need that repetition of chorus. I'll always try and I'll always try and throw a different punchline into that second chorus to make it funnier again, or make it funnier even further. Is there like a seaside sound on Charlie's audio?
I've got a little bit of a buzz in, yeah. There's a little bit of something.
It sounds like the
seagulls or something.
It sounds like the waves are breaking in your mic.
We'll just have to ignore it. Hopefully,
there we go. It's going now.
My scout Blame.
But yeah, no, as a musical act, I there's a couple of guys on the scene who will repeat choruses, and like in my head, it's against my own rules. But then they get the audience singing, and they enjoy it, you know. But for me, it's why would you want to hear the same joke twice? Why would you want to hear the same punchline twice? So for me, why would you have?
It's a different. I mean, it's a different kind of. It's a different vibe, isn't it? So. But there's some cracking musical comedians out there. I look forward to seeing yourself and your set and whatnot. But it's been a pleasure having you on, mate. And I hope your book. What's your book called?
It's called the New Comedian's Guidebook.
Where can people get it from?
So it'll be available on my website, which I'll be announcing in a couple of weeks' time, which is garethpmorris.com. And it'll be available from Amazon, and I'm looking to do it as publishing it through different websites as well then, so I'm going to try and get it in Waterstones if I can. That's the goal then.
Have you done Audible?
Have you done Audible? I've got Spotify Premium, but I've never done Audible before. I'm debating turning it into an audiobook because I'd like to read it out and to see if it actually reads well.
I'm rubbish at reading, you see. So like I read Adam Bloom's book 2 or 3 times as a book, which is unusual for me because I don't do it. But I've bought it on Audible, and I'm getting so much more from it myself. The way I learn and the way that So I buy an audio book every month at least one on Audible. I'm into acting and stuff. I'm doing a lot of acting at the moment, so I've got quite a few on there. So I find Audible like invaluable for me for learning.
I did one thing I found when it comes to learning the set and learning lines. I played the giant in Jack and the Beanstalk a few years ago, and loved it. But what I did is I created an audiobook of my lines and just had that playing at double speed, or made sure it was audible enough to hear it. And I think within a couple of weeks I'd had the lines down, which was insane because it was. It's weird how different people have those different mechanisms for learning things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, excellent. So get Gareth's book.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Just on a musical note, if you want to have a look, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's flirting about the Funnyfarm. It's flirting on my Facebook. I got bought on the other day when I opened that roast joke to a song about a vasectomy. Literally, the opening of the night was a guy, a good mate of mine, Dan, and the way he introduced me onto stage was with a vasectomy song, which was quite funny. So go and have a look, see what you think of that. It's on Dan Lythe. He's put the full video on.
Is it the Lythe? Is that how you spell it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but it's on my Facebook. Have a look on my Facebook, mate. But that's good. And I've put a few of the roast battle bits on there as well because it's completely out of my comfort zone. That was. I don't really like me and Dan have known each other for years, so it was easier. But I always find it hard to I talk about his mum wanting to abort him and stuff, and
Jesus.
Which is not true. It's not true, but it's one of those. Anyway, I'll let you wrap up, Charlie. Sorry, great to meet you, Gareth. Hopefully, I can come and gig for you. You can come and gig for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Come down. Let's say run a few gigs, especially if there's any dates where you're looking to come on holiday. Let's say people love Wales, especially in the summer. I tend to run gigs around then. So yeah, if you're interested in if you've got any dates in particular. Let me know. If not, I'll drop you a message and we'll get you down. No problem at all.
Yeah, definitely. I'll come down, especially, mate. I've not done anything in South Wales, or Mid Wales. Are you?
South. So I'm about an hour and a bit from Cardiff, half an hour from Swansea. So you can't really double up, but then there's that possibility of grabbing a travel lodge and then doing a double, on the next day. Or you've got then I'm smack bang in the middle between Civilization or sort of like Tenby, Saundersfoot, or the holiday locations. So yeah, it's
nice.
You could plan something out of it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be looking forward to that.
No, it's been great to have you on, Gareth. And I think I've found my niche. I think I might start with my jingle and the feedback I've got. I might start doing a bit of musical comedy myself.
Crack on, yeah, absolutely. It's you got to try things.
With that band with the xylophone.
It's like a school lunch announcer. Yeah, thank you very much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
No, great. We'll have to have you on again in a few months' time once your book's been released.
Absolutely. Yeah, send us all your links and everything, mate. Send us all your links.
That'd be great. Thank you very much, gents. Cheers.
Cool.
Nice one, Gareth. Good to meet you, my mate.
Legend. Hey, I'll see you again. Thanks.
Cheers. So if